Hello, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Sarasota. Whether you're a member, a regular attendee, or you've just found us, we want you to know that we're here to support you in finding a personal relationship with the God of your understanding and in discovering what you already know. My name is Jim Grove, a licensed spiritual practitioner here at the center, and I greet you with Namaste. Namaste is Sanskrit and means the divinity in me recognizes and honors the divinity in you. Now let's affirm our vision and mission statements. The words can be seen on your screen. Please feel free to read aloud with me. First, our vision: empowering spiritual growth as a loving, inclusive, worldwide community. And now our mission: we teach science of mind principles and other life-affirming spiritual truths. We explore, we learn, we grow, we connect, honoring all paths to God. We offer in-person and online weekly services, classes, workshops, affirmative prayer support, and other spiritual tools. We create opportunities for joyful social connection, community outreach, and service. And we celebrate the awakening of our innate spiritual magnificence. Now, as we prepare for our time of prayer and meditation, I invite you to relax, close your eyes, and take a deep cleansing breath. Go within as Bob Teesdale sets the tone for us with a chant entitled "Our Thoughts Are Prayers" by Lucille Olson.
Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Be careful what you're saying. Seek higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer. Our thoughts are prayers, and we always pray. Our thoughts are prayers. Take charge of what you're saying. Seek higher consciousness, a state of mindfulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes our prayer. Seek higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. and every thought becomes our prayer.
Today I behold the Spirit of God within all people, uniting us as members of the human family. No one can be separated from God. I open my heart to this truth, realizing that even as I am a spiritual being living a human experience, so are all others. In the spirit of harmony, I open my mind and heart to those whose backgrounds and places of origin may be different from mine. At the level of spirit, we are more similar than we could ever be different. I bless the world's people with welcoming and wholehearted acceptance. I honor their uniqueness and behold their sacred worth as children of God. I want for them what I want for myself, a world that works for everyone, a world of safety and respect. We are all one in spirit. As I speak these words of unity, I know that they go forth like the ripple from a pebble thrown into a calm pool of water, inviting others to recognize and celebrate the unity in diversity and the joy of being in community. Grateful for this spiritual truth that transcends all appearances, I release my word, confident that it is already manifesting healing wholeness in my own community and beyond to the entire world. And so it is. Many of you are familiar with our guest speaker this morning, Reverend Dr. Dennis Merritt Jones, who has spoken many times for us and even assisted us to develop our mission and vision statements that we read earlier together. His own personal mission is guiding people to purpose. Dennis was the senior minister for many years at CSL Simi Valley, California, and now lives just up the road in St. Petersburg. He speaks at Unity and CSL centers in the area and has written columns for the Huffington Post, Science of Mind magazine, as well as several books. Among them are How to Speak, Science of Mind, Encouraging Words, Your Defining Moments, The Art of Uncertainty, The Art of Abundance, and The Art of Being. His message is entitled The Sweetness of Sangha, where two or more are gathered. But before we hear from Reverend Dennis, Jay and Bob will sing Lean on Me by Bill Withers.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for no one can feel those of your needs that you won't let show. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. If there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, I'm right up the road and I'll share your load. If you just call me, if you need a friend, call me. Come on and call me. You can just call me. If you need a friend, call me. Come on and call me. Come on and call me. If you need a friend, call me. Come on, call me.
Hey, my Sarasota Center for Spiritual Living friends. I'm so honored and I feel privileged to be able to have this opportunity to share today with you. I know that our good friend Reverend Karen Wolfson is entering the next phase of her own existence and experience as a minister, which is to discover the life beyond the pulpit. And it's there. I've told her that a number of times. And she is kind enough and gracious enough to invite me to share some time with you today toward the end of her service with you as the minister. And I wanted to talk not just about her, but I also want to talk about you, the Sarasota Center for Spiritual Living, the spiritual community that you are, because at the end of the day, you know, spiritual leaders, sorry, Karen, I have to say this is the truth because I discovered for myself. Spiritual leaders come and go, as I did in my church, and Karen's doing in her church now. But the teaching and the consciousness remains, it lingers, and continues to trickle down and touch people for centuries to come because of what we're doing today. I'm talking to you, the members and board members and practitioners and congregation members of the Sarasota Center for Spiritual Living. The title of my lesson this morning is The Sweetness of Sangha, where two or more are gathered. And I've talked to you before about Sangha when I believe I spoke to you about the three jewels, which are the foundational teaching in Buddhism that talk about the three aspects that make the spiritual path real. I'm not going to dwell on the three jewels themselves because I've already spoken to you about them, but I want to. You have to go through the first two jewels to get to the third jewel, which is the one I want to focus on today. And of course, the three jewels that Buddhism is referring to that create spiritual community and spiritual lifestyle is the Buddha nature, you know, the one who shows us the way in this life. The Buddha is also the awakened nature in all beings. Could say that when we come to a realization of our oneness with God or whatever you determine as your creator, you put onto what Ernest Holmes referred to as the Christ nature. And so we're talking about the Buddha nature and the Christ nature are essentially the same. It's that pinnacle, that place in consciousness where we realize that we're more than these bodies, that we live in these bodies, but our bodies are a wonderful vessel through which infinite intelligence finds fullness of expression. And so when we are fully aware of that nature, our oneness with life, with infinite intelligence, we put on the Buddha nature or the Christ nature, and that's the first of the three jewels that are given to us in the multiple teachings in the Eastern traditions. The second jewel is the Dharma. The Dharma, or it's another way of thinking about the Dharma, is the way or the teachings of love and understanding. Every time you breathe mindfully, take a breath mindfully. You know, I ask that question a lot. How are you breathing? Every time you breathe mindfully, or you walk mindfully, or you look at another person with the eye of understanding and compassion, with mindfulness, because you are a living, breathing example of the Buddha nature, the Christ nature, in action, bringing the teaching forward. That's the Dharma. And so both of these aspects are very important for you as spiritual community members, because you'll continue to maintain the consciousness of those two aspects of the three jewels, especially when you combine it with the reality. And you've heard me say this before, there's only one of us here. There's only one of us here. That's the great illusion that, you know, God's a pretty good prankster, because he, she, it presents itself in and through so many diverse and unique expressions. But there's really only one of us here, and that's the culmination of the concept of the three jewels, is to bring us to an awareness that there's really only one of us here, and it's what we do with that oneness together that matters. Okay, so the first two jewels that I spoke about really are the gateway to the third jewel, which is Sangha, and a westernized version of that might be found in Matthew 18:20, when the great teacher Jesus said, "There, where two or more are gathered, there too am I." Where two or more are gathered to be able to see, to experience, to create the environment of the awareness of oneness, there too is the Christ presence, the Buddha nature. So Sangha is where the Buddha nature and the Dharma come together in an experiential manner as Sangha, which is spiritual community. The Sangha, which is really a Sanskrit word, is the spiritual community that lives in harmony and with an awareness of what? That's the question I'm asking you. If I was with you in person, I'd wait for you to answer me. What's the point of a spiritual community living in harmony and with an awareness of what? Well, an awareness of what I just talked about, the awareness that where two or more are gathered in my name, meaning the awareness of the presence of God, there too am I, the Buddha nature, the Christ nature. So Sangha is really where we get a chance to practice what we preach, or what the ministers preach, and sometimes we need to practice it as much, if or not more, than the congregation does. The point is that your teachers, your friends, and yourself are all vital elements of Sangha. It's together you create the energy of Sangha, spiritual community. Your teachers, your friends, those who come with you, your colleagues, and yourself are all vital elements that creates the nature of Sangha, which is not a building, it's a consciousness that occupies a building, or any place else that it might be, a village, you know. And it's not just Reverend Karen, as great of a leader she is, or whoever your new leader might be. It's not just that. You can share your joys and your difficulties with Sangha. See, I think that's probably one of the greatest things to remember about Sangha, is that if we're holding the consciousness of love and compassion tightly, or loosely, I should say, and allowing that to breathe in the midst of our Sangha, we realize that it's a safe place to bring all of our joys and happiness, as well as our sadness and sorrows and challenges that we have in life. That's what spiritual community is about. It's to know that I have your back. I have your back. And if I was with you in person right now, I'd turn to you in your group and say, turn to one another and say, I have your back. Repeat it with me. I have your back. That's what spiritual community is. That's what Sangha is. And I know that darn well that's what Reverend Karen has been teaching you for the last 20 years. Holy bananas. That's a long ride, 20 years, man. 20 years. So one of the other concepts that is wonderfully used in the Buddha nature of the three jewels is that when we take refuge in the Sangha, we're not hiding in Sangha or spiritual community. We join in the stream of life when sometimes when you walk out of your spiritual community, how you feel differently than when you walked in. That's because the concept of Sangha has been implanted in the consciousness of that group. And when you leave with more than you came with, because you share that joint energy with everybody who's in your spiritual community with you. You probably feel more oneness with each other as you get together and you pray and sing and hug and do all the great things that you do, which I know at some time you're going to be doing again as well in person. And thank goodness for Zoom and all the opportunities that we have to create a larger spiritual community that still connects differently. You know, the reality is that my body may be in one area of the United States or the world, and yours may be in another place. But when we join together in the same agreement of where two or more are gathered, there too am I, with the remembrance that there's only one of us here, that's what Sangha is about, and that's what the Sarasota Center for Spiritual Living is really has been in the process of creating and still is. There's only one of us here. Take a deep breath and let that sink in just for a minute. There's only one of us here. So I guess the bottom line is that the setting of a Sangha, in the setting of a Sangha, you find the practice easier and much more enjoyable, safe, and meaningful. When you're in Sangha, you could practice the things that you go to Sangha for, compassion, spiritual learning, and experience. I said Sangha is one of the safest places to be who you are, because you're among people who are supporting you in that as well as you supporting them in that. And so it's much easier and more enjoyable and certainly safer to drill down into our spiritual nature together as a collective community. And I know darn well that Reverend Karen has done a great job of creating that environment for you guys to continue to experiment. Life is a laboratory, you know, and our job is to experiment and to go drill deeper into the core of who we are. It's a lot easier to do sometimes when we are sharing our environment with like-minded people. That's Sangha. Okay, so the sweetness of Sangha is found in the knowing that you're part of something bigger than you, and that you, therefore, matter to the whole. Your Sangha, your spiritual community, would not be complete without you there, whether it's online or in person. Okay, so I think the point is this, that a spiritual community is a living, breathing thing that requires ongoing love and care to maintain it. And your vision and mission statements describe exactly what you're doing to collectively maintain your spiritual community, not only maintain it, but to grow it. You know, as you've heard me say before, you know, grow or die. If things are not growing, the natural impulse within them recedes and they begin to wither up. So the only way your spiritual community continues to grow is if you choose to grow as an individual who is one of the vessels of the life force within that community. So when we worked a few months back developing your vision and mission statement, you really outlined how you're going to do that. And I want to read this to you now so you can kind of let it seep in a little bit, and I'll speak to it as I read it. Your CSL Sarasota vision and mission statement is a call for a deepening of the Sangha consciousness in your spiritual community. Now, but how does that happen? How does it happen? How do we really deepen the awareness of our oneness in a spiritual community? I'm glad you asked. Again, your vision tells you where you're going. It points to the where. We talked about this many times. Your vision for your spiritual community tells you where you're going as a collective Sangha, as a group, where you want to end up, okay? And your vision is powerful. Boy, you created a powerful vision. It's empowering spiritual growth as a loving, inclusive, worldwide community. That's profound. Worldwide community. And the fact that you're able to do what you do online as well as in person, that put wheels on that vision really nicely. Empowering spiritual growth as a loving, inclusive, worldwide community. I think all those words are powerful. Spiritual growth, loving, inclusive, worldwide. That's what you're standing for as a spiritual community, as a Sangha. And your vision says that's who we are. And now your mission statement, you know, details the how, what you're doing as a spiritual community to put wheels on that vision to make it a reality. And I'm going to read your vision statement, or your mission statement, very quickly to you and talk about it because I think it's important that as Reverend Karen exits stage right, that your mission statement is going to maintain. Those of you in the community who are aware of what the mission statement is, yours is to continue to make sure that the mission statement is alive and true and well and served while you're in this process of changing from one leader to the next. So your mission statement tells the hows. Your mission statement says we are a loving, inclusive, worldwide community empowering spiritual growth. That's the vision. Now, I'm going to ask you a number of times, do you hear your name being called when I say these things? Your mission statement goes on to say, we do this by teaching science of mind principles and other life-affirming spiritual truths. Again, do you hear your name being called in that description? Are you continuing to deepen your awareness of the science of mind teachings and other life-affirming spiritual truths by taking classes, by being involved, by being available as a prayer partner for whoever may need it, etc., etc.? Keeping the science of mind teaching alive and the principles alive and are a core element to your mission statement, and I applaud you for it. It's great. Again, do you hear your name being called somewhere in fitting into doing that, to serving it, to getting involved in that way that maybe is new for you? Your mission statement goes on to say, we explore, we learn, we grow, we connect, honoring all paths to God. All paths to God. That means that there's more than one way to arrive at an awareness of your unity, your oneness with God. Spiritual community is one of the places where you can explore those different pathways, see which one works for you the best, put it on, live in it, love it, and share it with the world. Again, do you hear your name being called when we talk about exploring, learning, and growing, and connecting, and honoring all paths to God's? How do you manifest that in your participation at the Sarasota Center for Spiritual Living? Your mission statement goes on to read, we offer in-person and online weekly services, classes, workshops, affirmative prayer support, and other spiritual tools. There's the how you do it right there. In-person and online weekly services, classes, workshops, affirmative prayer support, and other spiritual tools. Now again, I ask you, do you hear your name being called in any of those descriptions of what your spiritual community is doing? Are you participating in online classes or services and workshops? And are you offering affirmative prayer to other people that may show up needing your help and support? That's what spiritual community is about. And by the way, it's good to have practitioners that can do that with you, but you don't have to be a practitioner to pray for somebody else or for yourself. And that's part of what Sangha is about too, is being there. I have your back. I have your back. Whatever you need, I'm there to support you. I have your back. That's what spiritual community is about. Your mission statement goes on to read, we create opportunities for joyful social connection, community outreach, and service. Huge aspects of a spiritual community is social connection, socialization, and creating a vibe of community, and also service, not only among your own spiritual community, but in the community, larger community. How are you serving as a spiritual community in the larger community? There's wonderful ways that you can do that to keep your passion, your vision alive and working in the world. Now again, I ask, do you hear your name being called, being whispered in your ear to help create opportunities for joyful connection, spiritual connection, social connection, community outreach, and service? Get involved. This community is where you have a chance to bring your gifts to the world through the community. Okay, your mission statement goes on to read, we celebrate the awakening of our innate spiritual magnificence. Isn't that grand? We celebrate the awakening of our innate spiritual magnificence. And I think that there's no place better than with people who like and agree, with people of like mind, to share that sacred space together, to celebrate the awakening of that innate spiritual magnificence that we know is there with every one of us, right? All you got to do is go look in front of the mirror, stand in front of the mirror and look into the mirror. And keep looking until you get past all the layers of the appearances looking back at you, and you see only the divine nature of the one. Sangha will help you arrive at that awareness, because everywhere I look, I see the face of God. Think about that. Do you hear your name being called? I do. Yeah. And oh, by the way, you also, as a community, established new core values, which I want to mention because they're huge. And it's interesting. You created these core values months ago, and they're tying in beautifully to what I want to talk to you today about, the exquisite sweetness of Sangha. Okay. Your core values are spirituality, which is really the Buddha consciousness or the Christ nature, right? Love, which is the Dharma, the teachings being expressed in community with compassion. Your core value of community is Sangha itself. That means that you value the time, the sacred space that you share with each other. And when you leave that sacred space with each other, whether it's online or in person, you're a better person. The world's a better place because of that time you shared with your spiritual community and Sangha. Core value is empowerment, which is what your vision and mission statement really do, is they empower you. They declare and give you the authority to be a representative in the world for higher consciousness, for the science of mind. And Reverend Karen's consciousness has been embedded in your spiritual DNA, your consciousness, and now you get a chance to continue to spread that awareness of the teachings that she gave you to the world. That's empowering, and your vision and mission statement is how you're going to do it. Your last core value is inclusiveness, which is really the three jewels combined, because inclusiveness means you exclude no one. And again, there's only one of us here. If there's only one of us here, how can you exclude any one of us? You can't. And that's the powerful thing about spiritual community, that I think that you guys have taken 20 years to create the community that you have. And I absolutely know that at the end of the day, you're each a better human being because of the spiritual community you've been involved with. Shake your head like this. I know you are. So here's the takeaway. To Reverend Karen Wolfson, I say this to you, my friend, directly to you, Karen. You, my friend, have done a remarkable job for 20 years and have earned a well-deserved there is life after the pulpit moment or two or three. So take a breath. Your congregation, I was at your big send-off party last week. They love you and they're supporting you. And it's because they know that your consciousness is parked within their minds and hearts. And so when you leave, you don't leave them, you take them with you. And that's a very powerful thing for them to know. So, Reverend Karen, the ripple effect, and I said this the other night at your party, the ripple effect of Karen Wolfson travels for 7 generations out, which is a Sufi concept of endless, making a difference for generations to come, that long after we leave the planet, the essence of who we are and how we conducted our lives and how we believed and what we thought and taught ripples out into the world. And Reverend Karen has done a marvelous job at creating that ripple effect, and you are each part of that ripple effect because you're there with her, enjoying her experience and taking the teachings that she's given you and taking them to the world. So Karen, consider the lives that you've touched, those whose lives will never be the same because you managed to elevate the trajectory of their entry into a consciousness of oneness, a consciousness of life, of love, a new life. That's the Karen Wolfson ripple effect. And now to the congregation, I say this to you, and hopefully I'll see you guys again in person. But if I don't, these words are nonetheless true, and I charge you with them. As you begin the candidating process, just remember, it's your collective consciousness that will draw the right, perfect spiritual leader to your center. You don't have to go into big, challenges or conflict arguments or debate to know that the right person's, you're drawing that right teacher to you, because you just hold the consciousness of Sangha, and he or she will show up. Maybe it's they, I don't know, but they will show up in a way that supports your consciousness now, how you're holding the sweetness of your Sangha at the center of your consciousness, okay? Remember the sweetness of your Sangha, and here it is. Stay together, don't deviate from your vision. Communicate lovingly, infuse reverence in your conversations with each other, not just in your community. Remember, the world is just an extension of your community. So communicate lovingly. That's a lesson I've learned and had to learn over and over the challenging way. Yeah. Reverence for all, including the person you see looking back at you in the mirror. That's where it starts, actually. Treat one another as you would the Buddha or the Christ. That's the epitome of reverence, is to treat one another as you would the Buddha or Jesus the Christ. Treat one another the same as you would prefer to be treated, with love, compassion, reverence, all the other wonderful qualities that come into a Sangha, spiritual community. Where, see, Sangha, your spiritual community, is where you get a chance to practice on each other to get it right. So when you go out into the world, man, you have got it done. You got it nailed. Okay. Now, I charge you with this also. Honor your teacher, Reverend Karen's legacy, by maintaining the exquisite teachings of the science of mind that she has taught you. Keep them pure and simple as they trickle down to future generations through you, through your children, your children's children, and onward. Okay. Then observe the ripple effect of you, your sweet Sangha, your teacher, and your amazing community, touching your world in ways no one of you alone could ever do. So, I say this: your vision, empowering spiritual growth as a loving, inclusive spiritual community, rocks. Reverend Karen, you rock. You rocked my life. You've rocked a lot of people in a positive way, and now it's your chance to breathe, step back, and smile, knowing that you leave your spiritual community in good hands. You have good, worthy consciousness that you've left behind with your leaders to make sure that this community continues to continue making a difference. Your vision is a powerful, guiding light on the hill for all to see. Don't put that light under a bushel. Keep your vision out in front of you. Let it be that which the world sees on a regular basis. So for the past 20 years, your community has collectively been on a sojourn together. A sojourn is a temporary journey to someplace. For 20 years, you've been on a journey to someplace, and the sojourn means that you return to where you started. You're returning, but you're coming back differently because you know now who you are, what you are, and why you are. So for the next 20 years, together, may you all enjoy the journey to the place you never left, which is your oneness with God. There really is only one of us here. There's one of us here. Your oneness with God, with life, the universe, with each other is the journey, the awakening. This then is the sweetness of Sangha, where two or more are gathered. Take a nice deep breath. Pat yourself on the shoulder for the good work that you've done to help this spiritual community stay alive and vital to where it is today. Know that there's nothing that you guys can't do together where two or more are gathered. Know that I love you. I love you, Reverend Karen. I love you, congregation, board members, practitioners. You're all amazing human beings making a difference on this planet that goes far beyond the lifespan of your own life. That's what matters. I love you. Peace.
I don't care if you're straight, I don't care if you're gay, I don't care who you love, I'm gonna love you anyway. I don't care if you're black, I don't care if you're white, I don't care what color you are, I'm gonna love you with all of my might. 'Cause you are my sister, you are my brother, you are a part of me. Let's face it, you are my family. I don't care if you're thin, I don't care if you're fat, I don't care what you eat. My love is so much larger than that. I don't care if you're rich, I don't care if you're poor, I don't care how much money you've got. Loving you is what I was put here for. 'Cause you are my sister, and you are my brother, you are a part of me. Let's face it, you are my family. There's no difference see. No separation or alienation. We all are one. 'Cause you are my sister, and you are my brother. You are a part of me. Let's face it, you are my family. Yeah, you are my sister, and you are my brother. You are a part of me. Well, let's face it, you are my family. We are all family, yeah. We are all family. We are all family. Come on and get up, everybody, and sing. We are all family. We are all family. We are all family. Oh, you are my family.
Thank you, Reverend Dennis, for your inspirational message about the importance of community. And thank you, Jay and Bob, for anchoring Reverend Dennis's message so beautifully. Now, as we move into our time of offering, I want you to know that we're so grateful for your generous financial support of this center that allows us to support you in so many ways. There are 3 easy ways to share your offering. On your screen, you'll see our website, which is www.cslsarasota.com, where you can select the Donate button, which will bring up several options for making a contribution. You can contribute via PayPal or by credit card, or you can mail a check to our address. You can also set up automatic contributions through your own online banking. Selecting the Donate Now button will open the PayPal window. And now I invite you to place your hand over your heart as you reflect on your gift, blessing it as you share it. And know this with me. My gift goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper, and the divine flow returns it to me multiplied abundantly. Now please join me in our offering affirmation on your screen. I give thanks that I may share of my good, my love, and my support. Thank you so much. If you'd like prayer support, I'd like to draw your attention to the green prayer request button. We encourage you to use this feature to send us your request. Our 5 licensed spiritual practitioners, Kathleen Frankert, Ron Frost, Nicole Leeds, Sean Scanlon, and me, are available to know and affirm spiritual truth with and for you in whatever challenge you may be experiencing. We're also available for 1-hour spiritual coaching sessions by appointment. For more information, check our website under the staff link at the left side of the screen and then select Practitioners. Here on our website, you can also sign up to receive our weekly email newsletter. Please also check out our Facebook page for posts about upcoming events. I have one announcement for you this morning. Our Spiritual Living Circle meets via Zoom every Wednesday evening for 1 hour from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time to discuss an article from the current month's Science of Mind magazine. This week, we'll be discussing the article by Ernest Holmes in the November issue entitled Sing a Song of Praise and Thanksgiving. This is a wonderful opportunity for spiritual development and social connection with like-minded individuals. If you'd like to participate, please email me at the address shown on your screen, and I'll send you the Zoom link, article, and discussion guide. Now, as we conclude this sacred time together, let us move forward into the week ahead, open to all that the divine has for us in the way of community. I invite you to listen or join in singing our closing song, Let There Be Peace on Earth. Thank you for being with us, and have a great week, everyone.
and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God our Creator. We are family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my sign.